What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Huddle, the number one podcast in flooring. We're here every week to help you guys gain forward progress in your careers. And simply put, we're always here to help you guys win, sharing our experiences and the experiences of others. So this week, our topic is confidence isn't necessarily loud and how to build credibility in the trades. With me, as always, Mr. Daniel Gonzalez. Jose will probably join back in here, having a little technical difficulty. And we got Matt Wellner from the NTCA. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, thanks guys for having me today.
Yeah, love having you on. Thank you for accepting the invitation and coming on to talk about this topic. We often in our weekly podcast here land on training and certifications and these things as ways to build your your business or your career in all of the given flooring trades or flooring disciplines. And we know NTCA is a great trainer in our industry, big advocate for the installer. And so, one of the main reasons we exist is to build up the installer. We're building an installation community of people that with the goal that our voices are heard by the big boys, by the manufacturers, by the industry, and that that the future really looks like the key to success is going to be your quality of installation. Where the playing fields are kind of getting leveled on the estimating world. We all know about AI and its advancements there, and we're doing a lot of tricky stuff over at my flooring company as well as at my technology company at TradeTap um, with AI.
And we're waiting for him to build all the agents so we can just use them.
He asked me earlier. Our first one will release here coming up. I think we'll have our first one released sometime, not next week, but the week after, and it'll handle a piece of our business that typically took a full time employee. That employee that's in that zone will be moved to customer relations and building reputation like customer service and so we're not eliminating employees, we're just putting them in the more valuable positions on the front side of the estimate and on the back side, so getting the invitation because of our credibility, and then executing at a world class level on the installation side. And those are the two sides that are going to. I did a talk on this in at the conference. Spoke to many people about it at Tice even. That's going to be the two zones that you really have to focus on as a flooring company or an installer, is your execution on putting the floors down in a high quality, long lasting, beautiful manner, and you know gaining credibility in the marketplace. So with all that said, give us a little background on yourself, Matt. Tell us a little bit about you. And for those audience members that don't know much about the NTCA, give us a little background on the NTCA and where you guys fit in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with just a little bit about myself and then talk about the NTCA. So I'm based in Hickory, North Carolina, so Western North Carolina. Live here with my family, my wife and two kids. Been in the tile industry for right at 25 years now. So I was homeschooled as a child, and so when I became a teenager, I got kind of suckered onto a job site and started mixing mortar at a pretty young age, and kind of never looked back. Left once and went and did some built power plants for 3 years. But beyond that, I've kind of been connected to the tile industry my entire life. And I was kind of your typical young, cocky installer, kind of thought I knew it all. And there was some guys that tried to teach me, but I kind of thought that I already knew, right? But
Uh,
Hickory's a small town, and this is back before really social media and things like that. But I kept hearing and seeing this new orange waterproofing product, in the marketplace, and they were offering to do a 2-day training, right? And so this is back in the day. I had to go online and print out MapQuest directions to get to this training. So I had a physical address, but I had no idea where I was going. And I pulled in the parking lot, and it was at this place down in South Carolina called the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation. And I met Scott Carruthers, who was the director of CTEF, and he opened that 2-day Schluter workshop, kind of welcoming us to his facility, and told us about the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation. And then he was also working for the NTCA, the National Tile Contractors Association. At the same time, he was kind of doing two roles, and he told us about the NTCA and what they had to offer. And man, it was kind of, honestly, it was instant for both, finding out the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation and what it meant to be a CTI, a certified tile installer. I hadn't heard about that until that week. And, automatically I signed up for that. Hey, I need to become certified. And whatever this NTCA thing is, I need to be a member of that. And it kind of lit a fire under me, and kind of dove in head first, became a member. We're going to talk about it today, but, found myself in a place that I was able to surround myself with people that were way smarter. Maybe they were 10, 20, 30 years down the road in business from where I was at the time, and really surrounded myself with some really smart people. And so eventually the NTCA figured out they weren't getting rid of me. And so they decided to give me a job, and started out as a trainer. And I did that for several years. And I'm now the training department manager. And that means that really I just help and oversee, and communicate on the backside of things. We have 7 trainers that work for the NTCA, and they're pretty much full-time on the road. Our trainers some of them are on the road 30-ish weeks a year. Others are on the road 42 weeks out of the year. I've got 2 guys that are on the road 42 weeks this year. And
Wow.
so they are road warriors. And so what we do at the NTCA, one of our main focuses is training and education within the tile industry. We're a nonprofit organization. And so the way that we are able to do all of these trainings is by having members. You can become a member of the NTCA, but then we're also heavily supported by the tile industry. So a lot of the manufacturers and distributors, those are where we do our trainings, and the products that we use. All of those people support us, and that's how we're right under 300 trainings this year. So
Tell me a little bit about what the Road Warriors do. Like, what does it look like for a guy? We've attended um, workshops at our local Dow Tile and multiple. I think there's been some different NTCA events at the Florida Core here locally. What types of trainings do the Road Warriors mainly provide?
yeah, so we have 2 different types of trainings that we offer. The distributors are what we would call our host location. And so you mentioned Dow Tile and Floor and Decor. Those are 2 of our hosts. And I think we're at 28 different host locations this year. And we'll be in, I believe it's 42 different states this year. So we allow the host to request what the topic is that we cover. And then we do 2 different types of training. The evening program that you mentioned typically will start at 5 o'clock, and it will go till 7:30. So that's our evening workshop. We also have what's called a regional training, and that's an all-day training. We start at 8, and that goes till 4:30. And so 2 different kind of types of training, and we have multiple topics that we cover at our workshops and regional trainings.
During your regional trainings, these are does an installer get a certificate of completion, certification? What
Yeah,
are some of the top? Maybe go over a couple of topics that you got on the books here.
yeah.
Go
So
feel free to drop a plug on your any of your soon to be upcoming events here.
yeah, absolutely. So all of our trainings are listed on our website, which is tile-assn.com. And you can just click under training events and you'll find all of our upcoming events for the entire, we plan all of our events front end of the year. So all of our events through the end of this year are on our website. And you'll also, when you click on that link, you'll see a map that has the pins of all of our locations. So you can zoom in on where you live and kind of see what's close by to you. We have this year 6 different workshop topics. One is all about layout. Another one is failures. Could it be me? Another one is tile matters, and that's a really good, just kind of overview of the tile industry standards. Another one is tile technology membranes, kind of self-explanatory, all the different types of membranes and where to use them, how to install them properly. Another one similar to that is tile technology adhesives. A lot of people kind of just think, well, it's just thin set, right? I'll just buy a bag of thin set and go stick some tile to the wall or whatever. There's a lot of differences out there. So where to use what. And then our latest workshop that was just launched last month is called Foundations of Wet Areas. And the reality is almost every tile installer in the country is working on a shower at some point, right? It's a major issue within the tile industry. We have to learn and know how to manage moisture, manage the water. People go, oh, well, I just buy this kit and install it. Well, it goes a little bit deeper than that. We're asking a residential or commercial shower to do a lot. And so it's a very costly repair. And, I spent years, my business model was home renovations, bathroom renovations. And I unfortunately, made a lot of money tearing out
Other people's stuff.
yeah, exactly. So that's a little bit about our workshops, our regional trainings. This year, we are primarily doing 2 different regional trainings. The most popular one is the installation of gauge porcelain tile. So,
Yeah.
4 foot by 8 foot, 5 foot by 10 foot porcelain panels.
We talk about this quite a bit. I mean, well, I don't know how much quite a bit, but it's just like the waste
Anytime tile
factor
comes up.
when you're talking about, pieces that
Yeah.
big. One piece is hundreds of dollars, if not more than that,
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
installed some, low end is going to be what, $700-800. High end, I've installed some that were pushing 10 grand. I mean,
Yeah.
and we've done a training in the past. It's on the art glass panels. They're laminated glass panels, and some of those are pushing 10 grand a piece. And they're 4 foot by 9 foot. So it's a whole nother world, right? And the larger the tile gets, is it different? Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's the same principles, but you just have less tolerances for mistakes. So you just have to be a lot more stringent versus installing, I don't know, a 12 by 24 or even a 24 by 48. These tiles just keep getting bigger. So
Bigger and thinner. Gauge panels being a 1/4 inch, right? We do a lot of that here. We just the the handling, the shipping. I've yet to get an order without a couple of broken pieces.
And then you
Um,
gotta, where are you
eh,
gonna use them, right? Because it's gonna take
well,
a
they
while to get
usually
them.
will just it's like a known thing. They just send us a couple more panels as long as we've logged it right when they come in, and then leave those panels and say, use them if you can use them. Don't ship them back. But because they're so um, hard, that means they break really easily, but incredibly durable once properly set in a mud of some sort, whether it's thin set or what have you. And there's a lot of the hand skill technical side of cutting and holes and things of this nature. There's also a lot to do with, properly getting that embedded. So yeah, those panel classes, if you mess with panels,
Right.
you really need to be trained.
Right. Roy
So
on
yeah, I love
Instagram.
that you guys do that.
Roy on Instagram says that the equipment to install it is very important.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah. I mean, and that's, here's the thing is if you've never installed something that big, what our training provides is an opportunity to, come to the class, but
Play with it, not on your dime.
if you break it, you're not out $1,000 panel, right?
That's
It'll, oh, well, we'll get another panel and we'll keep moving on with the training. The other thing is you get to put your hands on tools that you don't have to purchase, and figure out what you like and what you don't like, and gain some real world experience through this training, and have
Well,
some.
that's probably even an understated value right there. I believe the one that I've attended had multiple different ways of cutting the panels. And there was like, and I remember another training that I attended at Tice one year, and you get to mess with things. And like you said, just figuring out which tool you feel most comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's like a hammer. Why are there 50 different styles of hammer? Well, they all hit the nail. It's all about like what you feel comfortable with and most confident when you're installing. So this is your chance to get your hands on the
right.
hammer and figure out what way, and I'm using an analogy here, obviously, but what do you like? What feels right for you? And that's probably an understated value of going to a training like that, is the tool knowledge that you get to gain and the hands-on portion of that.
Roy said he'd go just to mess up some panels and not have to do it on his dime.
Hey,
And we do have a question here from LinkedIn. Oh, I think we both clicked it at the same time. Says, love the pod, guys, from Adam Eastman. Question for Matt. Have you thought about doing online trainings, videos, online communities, etc.? He knows someone in the UK running online courses extensively with in-person events as well. So it's kind of like do the stuff online, then go to the classes, it sounds like.
Yeah, and
so you're kind of jumping in on the NTCA University, I think, is going to be what Matt can talk about. Certainly, I'm just jumping in before you answer, Matt, because I wanted to state that there is no real online university that is going to give you the hand skills, but it is a great spot to start and then back it up with some in-person. That's my professional opinion. Love to hear yours about how all that plays together with you, Matt.
Yeah, so I agree with you 100%. And everybody learns differently, right? So I might learn one way, Paul might learn another way. So all of our trainings that are, we say hands-on training, they all involve a classroom portion as well. And so, it's kind of, you get into the psychology of how people learn. They got to hear something 4, 5, 6, 7 times before it clicks. Some people might get it on the 4th go round, and other people it takes them 10 times to really grasp something. So,
or 100 times, like me and my microphone.
Yeah.
So we do have what is called the NTCA University, and it's online courses, and it's included in part of our membership, and there's modules online that you can work through. It's a good starting point, and it will get kind of the fundamentals out of the way, so that maybe it helps connect the dots on the job site. And so you start with the NTCA University, and it might be talking about how to install backerboard. Well, that might be elementary to some people, but if you've got that 18-year-old kid who just graduated high school and he's never touched a hammer in his life and doesn't know how to read a tape measure, well, then that's going to be pretty valuable information for him to understand before you put him on a job site and leave him with a pallet of 50 backer board to install. And then, get him to understand that side of it before giving him instruction. So we see it used different ways. There's some larger companies that will include some of our online university courses as maybe like a job site toolbox talk or something like that included in their safety meeting. Or we get questions sometimes, hey, my guys are struggling with whatever the topic is, epoxy grout, or how to do XYZ. And there might be an NTCA university module that kind of covers the topic that they're struggling with. And so there's different ways that it can be used, but we do have that available, and we continue to add to the library that we have.
I have a dumb question, as long as you guys can hear me okay. Are there different levels of trainings that you guys offer as far as the progression of an installer, where you have beginner skill set, then you have advanced, and so on and so forth?
So there's not. It's a great question. It's hard sometimes just to get somebody to come to when we're out on the road in a different city, is kind of get to know the audience as quickly as you can and kind of judge who's there and what their experience level is. And you put a trowel in somebody's hand and that becomes pretty obvious pretty quickly. But we never want to talk over somebody's head, and we also don't want to talk down to somebody. And so all of our trainings are kind of designed to hit that kind of in the basic, let's call it basic, intermediate, advanced level. So it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're 6 months in or you're 20 years into the industry. I think you're going to pick something up at one of our trainings, and that's on purpose.
Like, I forget what it's called, but it's a kind of a very basic course. So that DCA and CTEF, there is this progression you can take. One of the biggest goals of this podcast, as well as my other company, TradeTap, is to increase the demand for an installer to be trained, that then thus requires training as part of a successful career. And one thing I was going to point out is when you were talking about the NTCA and the different ways that it's used on the NTCA University, one of the things that's really cool, I think, is that no matter where you're at, there are tools or topics in there that can help you in your day-to-day business or your day-to-day installation. Additionally, what you said about, backer board may be kind of self-explanatory or elementary to some. I see seasoned installers that struggle with it because they're not thinking, like, it's still a substrate that's probably still not plumbed, that's probably still not level. And how do you rectify that before you start throwing your backer board up and shimming things correctly, and what shims to use and how to use them? All that stuff actually matters greatly to the success of your tile installation and the overall. I mean, like we say it all the time, this stuff is beautiful on displays, but it only stays beautiful if it's installed correctly. So that's I think the NTCA University has a great spot in the industry to be leveraged by both newcomers to get your feet wet, maybe see if this is a field that you want to be in. And I want to make sure I'm correct on this next statement. Do you guys add new stuff to the NTCA University as it goes, or is that a completed product? So there's always some new stuff that you can learn new things from. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to just kind of edge us back on the topic of how this all. I tried to leave this one time, but I'm back. I myself have a similar. I got started right after I got back from basic training and went and took a delivery job about three years later because my wife was pregnant and I needed a job with insurance. So I went to work for Nabisco, and here I got back into flooring not too long after that. So it's funny how those stories there's so many parallels there, but credibility. How does this, I mean, at the end of the day, one of the great failures in our industry for training is really that the guys see the value in it. I've yet to catch a guy go to a industry like training and say, man, that was so stupid. I didn't learn a thing. Almost always it's like, man, I wish I would have went to this. And there's a lot of that.
A couple of just formally, there's a training and there's a product being trained on or whatever, right? But it's the people there. And I think that's what made the biggest difference in my life and in my career, was the people that I met. And that's what, just changed my life, honestly. Was I met people that were smarter than me, but took the time, and they were willing to help make me a better installer and a better business owner. So I agree with you that, I've never left a training, and went, oh, that was a waste of my time, because I was always meeting people and helping people. And my role has changed, right? And so I was looking to be helped, and I was willing to be mentored, and then it's progressed from there. So that, to me, is the huge part of just connecting with people one-on-one, and training events seem to be the place to do that.
Yeah, Daniel talks about this a lot when he's training in flash coving heat weld. If he does one of those trainings, the people that he gets to meet as the trainer, even uh, learning new little tricks or little techniques that you may not have known, it goes a long way. But also the people. I know that there's plenty of times that people have reached out to us, to me, or to Daniel or Jose, and surely you, that you met at a training and they're like, hey, man, I'm coming up against this thing. What do you think? Or,
Yeah.
I have a project that's maybe not in my wheelhouse from a size perspective, and I may know the guy. That's one of the things Trade Tap is designed to do, is to get all these guys opportunities through Trade Tap Pro. But the benefit of knowing people and getting connected gives you an outlet, gives you a phone a friend kind of thing, that is there for people to take advantage of. One of the items, the guys that I talk about often is, the guys who say, wow, I know what I'm doing. Why would I go to this training? You know? Well, I think it goes back to our topic, credibility. You may know you're great, and you may be great. Somehow you may have a father or an uncle that taught you, and he was an awesome installer, trained, and he passed that down to you, and you may be really great. But a lot of the proof, which is one of the first notes I put, is proof of production, or proof of your capabilities, is one of the things that can move you along in your career, because these clever marketing things are starting to really be less effective in the market, where you can be a clever marketer and get the job kind of thing. It's like, can you actually perform the project? Do you have the credentials that say that you can do it? And that comes with having proof of certifications, or having, being on the verified trade index, and being able to show somebody proof that, like, I'm an expert tile installer. Those things go way further with the marketplace these days than clever marketing. And so that's where I think credibility really lands, is in the proof of production that then also builds your reputation. And the NTCA, having a certification from CTEF, or one of the entities, whether you're CTI or ACT certified, those things go a long way to enforce your credibility. Because, like I said, you may know you're great. How do you tell the market you're great?
Yeah. And that's, going back to when I was contracting full time, being honest, my van was a kind of old Chevy work van. It needed a paint job, right? So instead of painting it, I went, no, I'm going to wrap this thing. And it jumped. I mean, it was great looking. It was a fantastic looking work vehicle. And I would pull in somebody's driveway and it separated me from the competition because the other guys were pulling up in that rusty, those Chevy vans are notorious for that hood rust, right? And so the other guys would pull up and give an estimate in their old beat up pickup or old van, and I had this beautiful looking work van. But the reality is, anybody could have paid whatever it was, $3,000, and wrapped their vehicle.
Yeah.
Well, presentation goes a long way, right? We're very visual, and when you see that someone is putting forth the effort to invest in themselves, whether it's the marketing or wrapping the van or even apparel, they're going to be viewed in a different light. We learned that lesson a long time ago too, because of some comments that were made, and I took it to heart, and it was just like, they're right. We got to be willing to do that with our brand.
So that was part of it. And that got me in the door, and it built some credibility when the homeowner opened the door and they saw my vehicle behind me. They knew that I was serious about what I was doing. But when I walk in and I can explain the TCNA method that I'm going to put on the estimate, and I could explain that I'm a certified tile installer, and they go, well, I've never even heard of that. What does that mean? Well, at the time, I was the only CTI in my city. And so that's when it really started to add to my credibility, that I wasn't just, I wasn't doing windows one day, roofing the next, painting another day, and I did tile too. No, I was a tile guy.
Yeah.
I took it seriously.
That's what I point out to a lot of people is you got to separate yourself. One of the reasons we launched the VTI this year was to separate yourself from the handyman, the hobbyist and handyman. They can a lot of times present themselves as well as you and trick the end user. So you've got to be able to display your skill and ability in a manner that is clear to an end user that you're a superior guy. I do got to point out one thing that's really funny on one of our comments. Roy says, that's my problem. How do I get everyone to know that I'm great? Well, you keep winning national competitions, my friend.
Right.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of that is people will speak for you too. And you had mentioned you were the only one that was certified, but you went to the certification. It increased your social capital. You were able to bring those contacts with you, and as your social capital grows, right, your reputation does too, and you perform. And Roy had said something about getting your foot in the door first. You're right. You got to get your foot in the door to explain it. But once you're there, it's hard for you not to use that to your advantage when you know that you have the credentials to back up the skill set, and vice versa.
Yeah, credentials and people vouching for you, which is the next point of reputation, whether it's previous homeowners that have high quality, expectations, telling another homeowner that has high quality expectations that you are good. This used to be what kind of some of the online stuff would do. It's gotten really diluted, obviously. Another reason the VTI exists, but the reputation side of things is like, oh, he's certified and he's reputable. One of the things that is not, I would say is really worthy of being talked about is how you present yourself on the job. You kind of touched on it with the van, but it's also about educating your end user with the knowledge that you've got. And then after that is being punctual, being dependable, being like a lot of these other soft skills that we track in our algorithms, response or professionalism, attitude, punctuality, dependability, exceptional quality, communication, and then how likely are they to use you again. Those items, only one of them have to do with your quality. Although it's very important because you can be all the others, you could check all the other boxes, but if you do a terrible job, then it's out the window. but also you can, and I can speak to this in my past, be good, but have a terrible attitude, and the person still doesn't want to use you again. Even though you're not going to have to go back and replace it, and they're happy with the install, they just don't like you because you were a little asshole to them. And I had that problem when I was a young installer because I had this ego thinking that, like, I'm so great. Uh, Kind of embarrassing to talk about as a 50-year-old today, but that's the truth. That's how I was. And I caution on here a lot to the younger installers getting in the industries: be humble, be teachable, and be willing to share your knowledge with your customers so that they know that you know what you're doing. Um, those things all go into your credibility. And last thing I would say is Doyle had made uh, a statement about certification and presentations
Oops.
are great, but what about your character? At the end of the day, you got to sleep with yourself. I think to
Sorry.
clean that up a little bit, I think essentially what he's saying is at the end of the day, you got to sleep well with the product and your service. I think it's putting those certifications to work for you, doing it the way that you were taught, and doing high quality work and charging the right price. And you should not be the cheapest.
Well, that's
You should not be
professionalism.
the cheapest,
That's
and you should
professionalism
still give.
along with what's it? Ethics, right? That's how you sleep at night. You take your ethics and the professionalism, you put them
Integrity.
together, and integrity, right? So, and I get it because this next comment kind of matches that a little bit about the handyman with the slick silvery tongue,
I mean,
right? Like,
they're so good at what they do when they're talking about it that the news over here is warning people. They're like, it's about to be home renovation season. Do not hire just anyone.
Yeah, and that's where you got to have a mechanism to be able to prove that that person is good. Again, I've plugged the VTI a lot on here. It doesn't get this much airtime typically, but it is the way that you build credibility when you're able to have a third party prove and say that you are this level, and it's all based on the certifications and the trainings and
Right.
the workshops that you get through the NTCA or through CTEF or through CFI or
And that's
through
where I was
any
going to
of the
go
training
with
entities.
this comment right here, because he's like, what's the best way to market the accomplishments without bragging? And it's to have other people brag for you, right? Because
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of times where even people come to us and they're like, I don't think we can afford you. And it's like, man, you haven't even given me a chance yet. But everyone says that you're the best. I said, yeah, well, let us prove it, right? Just let us do something.
Yep.
I don't remember if, or I don't know if Roy remembers this, but I became a CTI and then I became a CTI evaluator. And I was training to become a CTI evaluator, and I was shadowing some existing evaluators that evaluated Roy down in Atlanta, Georgia. So I was in the room when Roy passed his test. But one of the things that I did was put my CTI and my membership to the NTCA, and that I had been to this train. Man, that was like my signature on my estimates, right? And so they might see that number, that what its total cost number of what it's going to be, and then underneath of it, I would try to put it in there that I am qualified. I have done this before.
Yep.
I'm the right guy for the job.
Yep. All that matters. And the the results of all that is you these are things that build on themselves. You do good work for people, and I mean, the bottom line is if you do um, display high levels of accountability to yourself in those 7 markers that I mentioned, you are going to be successful. You will be successful as long as you're charging the right price. That's the one thing we can't fix, is what you're willing to charge. But we want to give you the tools to have the confidence to be able to charge what you are worth, and make sure you are profitable as if you're a subcontractor or as an installer working for a company by the hour as a W-2 employee, that you're rewarded by your company because of your stature. All these things matter in, building the credibility and how the trades, you don't like Roy was kind of talking about there. And then you look at our topic, confidence isn't loud. Like you ought to be able to have other people. I think, did you say that, Jose? Like have other people, or maybe it was you,
Yeah,
Daniel, other people
it,
telling other people how great you are.
yeah, it's not. It doesn't always have to come from you, right? And you know, I always said that there's no bigger compliment than getting a referral from your peers, right? From one installer to another installer, when you're referring another installer to a project that you could do, or a project that you feel, hey, you know what, this is a little bit above my skill set, my knowledge, but I have the right person for you. That's a compliment, right? And that speaks volumes to your ethic, to your person, and your ability. And there's projects out there where we've had to do that and say, hey, we got to call somebody. We have somebody else who might be able to do it better. We have somebody else who might be more knowledgeable on the product and the systems that you want. And it's okay. It's okay to do that. But not only did you just refer somebody and help build their reputation, but you just built your reputation a little bit too by stating, hey, you know what? I don't know everything. I can't do everything, but I can find a solution or lead you in the right direction for you to get the product that you want. And that's how you build that community as well.
Right. It's building up other people, right? Because I mean, now I'll be honest, there's been some times where we get calls and it's like, hey, I have called everyone else in the area. They only throw out your name. And it's like, well, first of all, I shouldn't have been the last call then, right? But that's where that reputation, they're like, I don't know if I can afford them, right? Especially if everyone is saying that. But I mean, sometimes your last call should have been your first, but it does feel great when other people are like, if you're doing this, these are the people to talk to, right? And there's been guys in our area that we've never even met. I mean, we talk online and stuff, right? We see each other online, and I would support anyone in the area too, right? Because it's like, are
Well,
we
and where do you
competing for
meet
the
those
same work?
people? Where do you meet some of it's community, but also you meet those people at the trainings that we were just talking about. That's what Matt was kind of referring to earlier. Another side benefit of going to say a workshop is it's not like there's some congregational point around town, at least not in our town, where all the installers go and hang out and talk to one another. It's, where do you meet other good installers is at places that create good installers. So aligning yourself with those people. I think it was Zig Ziglar that said that you're the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with the most, and that's true in installation. I've yet to find, a great installer that's hanging out with the group that doesn't take care of their business and doesn't take care of their personal life very well, and are the ones that are never on job when they're supposed to. All that drama and drugs and I mean stuff that's in our industry. We can't shy away from it. It is there. The good guys are around the good guys, though. And so if you're one that wants to be a good guy or a good installer in general, get around the other good installers. Like
Yeah,
find them.
steel syrup or
They're
syrup.
out there. Find them. Go to different trainings. Most people don't go to trainings that don't are the ones that I was kind of just referring to.
I tried to
They're
sign up
typically
for a certification class like a couple weeks ago. Daniel's like, dude, that's a certification class. You will fail.
Oh yeah, he was trying to do the CTI because remember I said if you're coming to Grand
I
Rapids, but
I read it
someone's coming.
wrong. I read it wrong, and that's all. I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should sign up. But he's like,
Yeah,
no certification. I'm like, oh,
Megan from
dang,
Welsh
okay.
Tile was like, "Hey guys, do you know anyone that wants to do this?" He was like, "I'll do it." I said, "Dude, there's tile guys that are amazing out there, and they're like, we can't even pass. We failed 1 or 2 times."
He flat out said in the email, you will fail.
One of the things that I want to point out, because I've seen a lot of comments about it, when you guys, when the VTI when all the profiles are merged over and new VTI it opens up for everybody here in the coming weeks, you'll get a card that will be a link to your public profile that you can share. It'll have your picture and your QR code that leads to your public profile that you can share to people. And that's a really good way to say, hey, Miss Smith, I'm Matt, here to look at your bathroom remodel and retiling and doing your shower or whatever. Here's my VTI card. Check me out. These are my accreditation and accomplishments. I'll go measure up and be back to talk to you. And it's a really beautiful way to display your body of work. And it's all data driven. So there's not claims in there. It's all verified and data driven. So that is one way that that you can add. You'll have that QR code. You can add it to your business cards, put it on your truck. You can use it however you want. We don't publicly share your information, but it's your card, it's your QR, it's your profile. You can share it as much as you like. Some guys already got stickers that they're going to leave at the homeowners to put on their fridge. Call me next time, kind of thing. So there's a lot of ways that you can do it without being boisterous, and that's one of the big benefits of the VTI and the way that we display that skill rating. All that being said, when we're talking about the gauge panels and the higher level stuff, and I say higher level because it's a higher risk level. You mess it up, it's like a piece of sheet vinyl in our world. Me and being a soft goods guy, a roll of sheet vinyl, a 40-foot drop, you don't want to mess it up. It's an expensive replacement. What kind of education or what kind of level of skill would you want to see from a guy before they start handling gauge panels and that kind of stuff?
So, there's been in the past, there's been some advanced training. I would not, and some people have been confused and kind of let it be known that they don't think that the NTCA training is advanced enough. And I fully recognize that. But again, we're talking to that beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So can you come to one of our gauge porcelain panel trainings and then go tile, I don't know, an airport? No, you don't have the experience necessary, right? But what you are getting is that first initial experience. Do I have the right crew? Do I want to make that investment in thousands of dollars worth of tools? Do I want to take on this liability? And here's the good news, and people forget this part. They might come to one of our trainings for gauge porcelain and they might go, this is just too much for me. But everything they learned at that training, it can be applied to 24 by 48 tile.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not getting away from that. Whether you're residential, commercial, I don't care. That is becoming the new normal. That is our new 12 by 24.
I laugh at people when they say large format tile, 12 by 24. I'm like, that's a baby tile now.
Yeah.
It used to be large.
I know it used to be, but it's now a baby.
I know.
Any tile with one side over 23 inches is considered large format. But there's now tiles that are 6 foot by 12 foot. 12 by 24 is pretty small, but technically speaking, it is a large format tile. So you can take everything that you learn at a gauge porcelain tile training class that we do and apply it to something smaller until you are, and maybe you never will be, but maybe you grow into a 5 foot by 10 foot panel. And I say grow into, I'm talking about your risk meter. But
your risk appetite.
Yeah, how much are you willing to take on, but also your skill level. And I've seen some guys on Instagram trying to install 5 foot by 10 foot tiles by themselves, one man show. You need a crew. You need some people that know what they're doing. I say that really coming from a safety aspect of it, right? Like you shouldn't be trying to lift something that heavy and trying to maneuver it. We all know what a bad day that's going to be if a piece of 6 mil porcelain was to shatter while it's above your head. Like that's a really bad day.
Yeah.
Get some people around you that know what they're doing.
I know that stuff
And
cuts deep too.
oh man, I've
Ooh,
taken some shards from just uh, catch the bad edge of a glazed 4 1/4, and you got a bad day. That's a
yeah.
surgical precision cut,
Yeah.
baby.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Oh, I know.
It's so
I know
sharp.
firsthand.
Yeah. Well, the Instagrams of the world that show that stuff, not only is it dangerous, but just like we were talking about earlier, you got the risk of the money in that. And uh, frankly, why do you want to work that hard? Like, charge enough that you have good help, and you want to train up people behind you too. That's one of I think of our core responsibilities as installers is to continue to train up, because training entities do the best they can, but in the trades, what we know works best for skill progression is to learn something and then apply it, and then learn a little more and then apply it again, and then learn, apply, learn, apply, learn, apply. That is an optimal way to learn. So getting them out onto a getting your help some real world experience, and then get them to an NTCA workshop, get them exposed to some of this stuff. Even if you've been, make sure you're sending your help to some of these things too. Get them in the habit early. It's one of the things I wish I would have done, is get some of my help in the habit of training. I went and got trained, and then I just taught them, but I would have benefited them more and probably myself more had I got them in the cadence of falling in love with training as well.
And we see that a lot where a business owner is bringing, the 3 new employees or whatever it is. But here's the other part, going back to the networking. Where do you go after you come to an NTCA gauge porcelain tile training? Well, there's already somebody at that training that's doing it full time or doing it on a regular basis. You're connecting with, maybe he's your competitor, but he's your competitor who's willing to take you under his wing, maybe throw you your first job and kind of help you along the way. Maybe you're subbing for him or whatever the case may be, but you're building those relationships. And I did want to say too, at these trainings that I went to, I made connections with people that weren't in my city. And I think that that's important too. I made connections. I'm in Western North Carolina, but I made some really impactful connections with some people in Tennessee and South Carolina. And those were the guys that I could call and talk about pricing and talk about tools and talk about material, because I wasn't worried about them taking my customers, right? So having the connections within your city, but also within your region, far enough away that you can talk more openly with them. I think that's important.
Yeah. Well, we have touched, a lot of different items, a lot of different, I would say, factors that address the our topic of building credibility. The last thing I would say is the way you present yourself. We get a lot of times we get so into the hands-on and the training, but it's also kind of the van, also your clothing. I had a really good tile or carpet installer, and man, I couldn't get him for the life of me to put jeans on that didn't have massive holes in the knees. And he's like, "Well, it just, you know, blah blah blah." And I'm like, finally, you know, after having to tell him, like, I just can't send you to job sites anymore if you're gonna not go buy a $10 pair of jeans, and I know they're gonna wear out. Consider it a cost of doing business in the flooring industry. But at the end of the day, the way you present yourself is my point. Your professionalism overall is incredibly important. You don't have to be the best salesman. Just be considerate, teachable, and you know, I've always found a lot of success in teaching my client why they should do it the way I'm presenting to them, whether it's going harkening back to, ASTM documents of floor prep, or like you said earlier, Matt, pulling out the good old TCNA handbook, or having that in your head, where you're like, hey, I'm going to be using these methods because this is the methods, the standards that must be applied for me to warranty your job. And then also, if you have a problem, it's most likely not that a standard wasn't met, right? And so it just gives you a lot of confidence when you can educate your customer. And when I say confidence, I mean a lot of confidence from them to you. You build it from them. So that's kind of my last note that I had about building credibility, is just kind of your overall professionalism in attire. So that being said, we have burned through an hour really quickly. These podcasts, sometimes it's like I look up and I'm like, holy crap, it's already 4 o'clock.
Goes by even faster when you spend 25 minutes trying to get your mic right. It should.
I think that you're gonna get better at this mic situation. You're
One of these
you guys are moving into a new office, is that right?
So that's the problem. It was good, right? But I had a couple of things that we moved around, and it's just like I'm short a couple devices right now.
It's packed away somewhere.
Jim Freeman, are shorts cool? Well, they're cool from a temperature perspective. They won't be allowed on
nice legs. But
you're not going to get on a commercial site with shorts, but
they try.
I have had it tried.
Yeah,
okay, so thanks to everybody for all the great comments. We had a lot of participation in today's podcast. We love it. I don't think we got to everything, but we give it our best shot without interrupting the flow of the conversation always. Matt, thank you so much for coming. I really think that, people understanding what the NTCA is all about, and think about it, guys. There's a lot of trainings this year that they have. Soon, I believe that those will be right in your devices to be able to click on, and we'll be launching those items in the future. Stay tuned. Obviously, I'll let you guys know. But get involved, build your credibility, and take this to heart. We want to help you guys do better business and make more money. That's our goal. And we've been here for what episode number is this, Daniel?
190, I believe.
So we've been here almost 190 straight weeks. I think we've skipped a few, but that is
some holidays fell on some. So
yeah, but 190 episodes, folks. So we're here. We're here to help you guys get better and bring in on experts like Matt, and him being able to share his background. Matt, give us a closing.
And that's why I popped this up too, to talk about coverings, because you got a lot going on over there.
Yeah, I'd love to just invite anyone to any one of our trainings. You can find that on our website, tile-assn.com. You might not see me, but any NTCA trainer, shake their hand, let them know that you heard about it on the podcast. And also, I'll see all of you and hopefully a lot of the audience coming up in Vegas very quickly at coverings. So we're getting ready. We got a bunch planned for that. So come check us out.
And for all you soft goods people out there, Coverings is the largest tile and stone show in the United States. It used to be up there in the world next to some shows over in Italy. I've been several times, haven't been in several years, but it's a great show. You want to talk about some really cool tile products. If nothing else, you're going to see awesome tooling, fabrication, and methods, and tile that you just don't even know exist. A lot of these manufacturers bring their new products to Coverings to kind of show it. I remember the first backlit tile stuff coming through there. It's been almost a decade ago, probably, but you know, you get to see a lot of cool stuff and you get to hang out with cool people like Matt. So if you're going to be in Vegas or you want to go to Vegas, click on the QR code, get signed up, and go check out the NTCA at the event. It's going to be awesome.
Network, man.
Network, baby. Last I'll say, thanks again to everybody's comments. Don't forget to get on our social sites.
And don't forget about Jorge on the Spanish news station.
Yeah, don't forget the Spanish news station. So a note to our Hispanic speakers, Jorge every quarter, at least once a quarter, will do the podcast in Spanish. So if you like this, but you would prefer to hear it in Spanish, make sure to keep an eye out. March 10th, I believe, is the next episode that Jorge will be in charge of. And he does a great job hosting the podcast. And so if you're a Spanish speaker and you'd love to hang out with the best looking guy in flooring, go hang out with Jorge for an hour or so. Don't forget to get on our socials. You know, give us some love there, guys. That's where it supports us and allows us, kind of gives us the motivation to continue doing this every single week and bringing on great guests like Matt, as I said before. So with that, guys, we'll catch you guys next week and have a blessed week.
Yeah, Matt, don't leave when we end this. We always forget to say it before.
Stay on for a minute. All right, everybody. See you guys.
Thanks, everyone.